Hi, Taurus. Welcome to an abundance reading, a manifestation reading of your hopes and wishes for January and February 2023. It's Raina here. I do these periodically just to mix things up, and I kind of got off track, so I'm just going to try to be more concise, and let's begin. The the thing that you're looking to manifest is represented by the Ace of Wands, and this is some kind of new beginning in your life. But it's not just any new beginning, it's um, something that makes you more independent. And this could even be love, but the kind that gives you more freedom, where you don't have to feel like you're trapped. Taurus is a very possessive sign, so it might be one of those things of like, do as I say, but not as I do, or maybe backwards. I can't think of the right thing to say about it. But you have Uranus transiting, forming a conjunction with your sun sign. So, or, at will at one point if it hasn't already. And that can really influence uh, the typically predictable Taurus can become less predictable, more rebellious. And you, with this, you might be looking to have more freedom in your life. And that can include um, having your own business, doing your own thing in some way. And you may be feeling like if you have broken up with someone or if you've gotten divorced, then this is a very strong feeling of like, oh, thank God, I finally have my independence. I'm not having to answer to someone. The card that represents why you want this is the Knight of Wands. That kind of like goes along with what I just said. This can be a very rebellious, non-committal, or what do you call it, like commitment phobic, adventurous influence. This could be you. And this could also be somebody that you are interested in. This card is supposed to be connected to Sag. I personally connected to Aries. Wands are connected to fire signs, and those both are fire signs. And the other fire sign is Leo. But I think of this as the warrior, and I think of Aries as the warrior. So the warrior is a very independent type of person, obviously. They're not a follower, they're a leader, if anything, but they're definitely a fighter. And the fight is this battle called life, and the fight to be able to call your own shots, do what you want to do, can all be figured into what's going on here. And so, suffice it to say, whether this is somebody that you're interested in who is not a very predictable sort of person, and that may intrigue you at this time, or if this is simply an aspect of you that you are exploring, it definitely is very independent energy. What is preventing you from reaching your goals thus far? The Five of Cups. This is a card of mourning the loss of something. So it does seem to me that if this is if these cards really resonate with you in terms of love, that you were involved with somebody in the fairly recent past. And so even though you have that sense of freedom, you also have these kinds of memories that might have been, things maybe you're trying to replace a relationship too quickly. And you should be, with the Ace of Wands, just enjoying your independence. It's kind of like if somebody gets fired from their job and then they're like, I got to find a new job, even if they have money saved or they get some kind of, you know, termination package or whatever, they don't necessarily have to look for work right away, but they just have that habit. Maybe it's kind of fear-based in some cases, but the same thing happens with love. It's like ending one relationship, starting the next, like serial monogamy. Actually, the Knight of Wands is playing the field, and you may be more inclined to do that at this time, if you, especially if you were in a long-term relationship. But regardless, sometimes people try things too soon. Even if you were unhappy in that relationship, and if you initiated a divorce or breakup, it doesn't mean that you're ready for a new thing. And I think it's always good to spend time alone, just because you have that integration of, and also just a reflection. That's part of the integration. Like, what did I learn from this? Because if you just keep going and going into new relationships, you never stop for one moment to kind of get to know yourself at this phase in your life and to think, hey, what is it that I need? And so you may be like still vulnerable. And this can also be like if you have experienced leaving a job, you might have even initiated it, because the Ace of Wands could be like, hey, I want to start my own business or whatever. Or even like retire. And you don't have to be in your 60s. You could be retiring in your 50s, or I don't know, even younger than that, if you have if somebody gets a pension or things like that. And there still can be a mourning process, because even if you initiate something, it still is I don't know if you call it a loss, but it's a change. And it's a death of sorts. It's such a transition that you have to kind of go into that next phase. What's coming in is the Temperance card, and this is the integration. The angel knows that they have to have both a part of themselves bringing that spiritual influence, but they also have to have that groundedness, which the land represents. The water represents the spiritual, in order to connect with the people they're trying to help. And so for all of us, this is true. That's what temperance means, kind of like that middle ground where you're not going to extremes. Well, Taurus is an earth sign, and so you tend to be very grounded. Now, of course, Taurus can be spiritual like any other sign, but even with spirituality, some Taurus people tend to gravitate towards things that seem very much where the elements of the earth are talked about. And so the upper chakras, the things that are connected to the immaterial side of our influences in life, which is the consciousness, for instance, the third eye, wisdom, these things have to be included in a person's life to one degree or another, because if you're just like focused on the material, you're not going to have that, you're not going to be able to pull it together and say, okay, what is this all about really? Because the material is temporary. And that saying, we're spiritual beings having an earthly experience, that to me is right on point. But the reason they say it is because we have to remember our original identity and not get lost in the material. But on the other hand, there are people, I don't know how many Taurus people are like this, but there are people who are very ungrounded and they kind of neglect the physical side of life. And we're here, we're in the material world. So we have to integrate these two influences because both of them are important. And so whatever it is that you want to manifest, Taurus, if you have a great idea, really, meditate on it, because you may even come up with even better things and to add to that. And don't feel like you are limited by the material concerns, like, how am I going to do this? If you have the enthusiasm, then it means that it's right for you. If you don't really feel it, but you think you should be doing a certain thing, then that's something that is probably a feeling of obligation, or somebody telling you that that's what you should be doing for some reason. And even if this is for like a business, sometimes people will say, oh, you should do something that is, guaranteed to, make you money right out of the box. But it just isn't something that you have a passion for. There's such a passion of the Ace of Wands that it's kind of like, and same thing with romance, like, settling for less, settling for safety over adventure. And maybe at some points in our life, safety is what we need to stabilize our lives as a whole. But then sometimes that can make things way too predictable, and there is a lack of growth. So that's what the wands really represent. The Ace of Wands is about growth. The outcome is the Six of Swords. This is about leaving the drama behind in life. And that drama can be coming from influences around you. If you have not left a relationship and you're still in that process of kind of actually going through with it, it could speak to that, and you might even be relocating to a new area. So that's why I said like a fresh start where everything is new around you. It's not just about some, what do they call that? A geographical cure, where you just go someplace else and think that life is going to change. This is kind of in alignment with everything else that's going on in your life, because, the Ace of Wands can really speak about fresh starts, new beginnings in and of themselves. And this is just kind of an extension of that. Like, how are we going to do that? Well, maybe some of you are planning on relocating. And, the Six of Swords is right, I hope I didn't say Six of Wands, is right under the Five of Cups. So that idea of grief as being this catalyst for, moving away, leaving some situation, that might very well be, but it's not running away from a situation. Leaving and running are two different things. So one is escapism, and one is choosing to change one's life. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.